What it do, y'all? This your boy King Eric the Greater. You're now tuned in at episode 239 at Off the Cuff Radio. I had to give y'all a little bit of that sample from the Global Gangsters, the Derrick Rose track. I just cut that a little short so y'all can go ahead and download the real joint. But nevertheless, we want to welcome y'all onto the show. And our guest tonight, he's been putting in work for the West Coast scene for close to 15 years. From being one of the original members of Cash Money West, Mack 10 Who Banging Records, and literally became one of the most prolific street poets of the 2000s. So now he's here to chop it up with us at Off the Cuff Radio. And without further ado, let's welcome my man, Glasses Malone, to the show.
Hey, what's the deal?
What's going on, man? It's been a long time coming. We've been wanting to get you on, but you know our schedule's been matching up crazily. How's everything been?
Man, I was feeling it's A1, man. It was crazy. I was gonna push it back to like the top of next month. So when I drop some new content, we have something to talk about. But I didn't want to be rude and keep pushing it back.
Man, but you know, since you've been putting it down since the 2000s, we still have a lot to cover anyway. You know, we can let these people come in and play catch up on what you all about, how you've been putting it down, and you making that transition to podcasting. We just got a lot on the table to just lay down.
Believe that. It's a lot of good stuff.
But nevertheless, man, the first thing I want to start this off is how you been doing, man? What you been up to?
Mm-hmm. I'm A1, man. I've been doing my homework, man, the last 2-3 years. I've just been studying marketing, man, and making a ton of records and getting opportunities and figuring out what opportunities I want to take advantage of and how to take advantages of more opportunities and learning marketing. And we're trying to keep building on this science of records, you know what I mean, of making records and, you know, really get more into the art of marketing as well and combine the both. That's what the whole journey been about, man, and living, man. Just traveling, just doing what I do best, man. Racing cars, making Netflix TV shows, just having fun, man. Just having fun, living.
And the marketing, and it's good. It's funny you mentioned that, man, because, you know, marketing has done a 380, man. Like, I'm talking everything just became digitized because I remember it used to be where you had to go to the mom and pop store to support your albums and support your favorite artists. Not everything is going through the streaming. Do you feel that's evolvement or that's a step back in terms of getting your music out there?
I mean, everything is how you use it. You know what I'm saying? It's how you use it. Everything is how you use it. You know what I'm saying? Just back then, if you had a good relationship with your moms and pops, you know, record stores, and I can't really, like I said, when I came in, YouTube had already started. So, you know, literally, like, we was kind of on the verge of streaming, you know what I'm saying? So I can't really go too deep into the moms and pops, but the moms and pops, I remember if they talk to you, I remember buying records that way. So when I was a kid, you feel me, and my mom would go to the record store every week to buy records, I remember them having Jay-Z's album, you know what I mean, Reasonable Doubt, when it was with Priority, the cover was black. And him telling me, like, man, I know you into the lyrical rap. I got this new dude named Jay-Z from New York, from Brooklyn. I know you like Biggie. You need to get up on this. And my mom buying it from me and having it, learning the same way about Bone Thugs and Harmony. So it's all a relationship-based game. Back then it was relationships with the moms and pops. But now it's about relationships with Tuma at YouTube, certain guys at Spotify, you know what I'm saying, and certain legends. You know what I mean? You got to have relationships with the guys at Tidal and relationships with the guys at Apple Music, you know what I mean? Larry, it's all kind of crazy guys you got to have relationships with. So it's all the same. It's still a relationship game, you know, just different people now you got to build with.
Now, with this new project you have on the horizon, like, when can we expect that?
And it's going to come up out of nowhere, man. It's such a surprise. I ain't even got into talking about it, man. But I could tell you this, man, with all the research I've done on marketing, won't nobody know that I'm not back around the block for sure. And there's going to be people who never heard of me before they're gonna hear about me now. And that's really all I need to say about it.
So you gonna basically throw that thing out of nowhere like Beyonce did. We're gonna be on the lookout for that.
Yeah, you feel me? You said who?
Yeah, you gonna throw it like throw the project out of nowhere like Beyonce did and just go crazy off the streams.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? It's all about casting your shadow over the room, you feel me? So nobody gonna miss me when I walk in. It's like the elephant in the room. It won't never be, you gonna know what's out there. You know what I'm saying? It's and expect gangster rap, that's it. That's for sure. Expect some level of truth and expect gangster rap.
Now, what I like about your music, man, is that you're straightforward to it. You tackle issues that you feel that, a lot of people are afraid of tackling. So who inspired your rap style?
Scarface more than anybody. You know what I'm saying? First off, it's going to be a real conversation about Scarface. It's going to be a real conversation about Ice Cube. It's going to be a real conversation about Beans and Jay-Z. You know what I'm saying? It's just truth. It's delivered. Like, it's unapologetically. It's as advertised. You know what I'm saying? It's like, if I wasn't that nigga at the time, I'm not going to be that nigga in the rap. I'm going to tell you my rise from when I was a scrub to something real and tell you how it really happened to the T. I mean, I honestly, more than anything, the more I define it and know exactly who I am, more than anything, I'm a storyteller. So I've been really even more studying the greatest storytellers, whether it's a Slick Rick, whether it's a Ice Cube, whether it's Scarface, the Biggie, the best storytellers. And that's really where I cut my teeth at with hip-hop more than anything is my storytelling ability. If you're going to listen to Everybody Gotta Go or any of my joints, you feel me, the stories, you can kind of see them when I'm rapping them. That's what I do.
Yeah, I compete that because I also compete with a lot of your videos. They're kind of like mini movies, so they go core hang with the songs.
Yeah, I'm a storyteller, man, and I done wrote films and sold screenplays. I done wrote television shows, and all I've been focused on more than anything is just getting better with telling stories. That's all entertaining is in general anyway, is telling stories. And I done been through so much, and people I know been through so much, and I know so many things that ain't mainstream that I know happen with certain people that I can focus on. So what you can expect from me is some of the best stories hip-hop ever heard, you know what I'm saying, for sure. Like, and hopefully growing into a situation where I'm telling some of the greatest stories that the world ever heard.
And it's funny that you mentioned the creative story because I also came up on the creative writing as well. I used to do a lot of that in high school, and that was just the fascination behind forcing that creativity out. And as well, you also mentioned the forefathers you mentioned, like Beans and Scarface and guys like that. It just feels that next level creativity to where you paint pictures with your words. It's that gift that Tupac had as well.
Yeah, he was an underrated storyteller for sure. Listening to a lot of his music, he was really underrated. And it's funny because I've just been really on his music a lot and listening to the stories. And he was such an underrated storyteller. But again, like Ice Cube and Biggie, those were like really serious storytellers that you didn't pay attention, but their singles was full out stories. You know what I mean? That's one of the core values in entertainment in general. You know what I'm saying? Is telling stories. And sometimes I go back and listen to songs, and like I said, I remember I tripped off listening to Schoolie D, PSK, and seeing how that influenced Ice-T 6 in the Morning, that story, and how Ice-T 6 in the Morning influenced Boys in the Hood, that story, and how Boys in the Hood influenced, you feel me, Wild Thing as a story, and how Wild Thing, influenced DJ Quick Tonight, which I didn't realize was a story. That's a great story about somebody getting with his boys and having a party and getting so drunk and then deciding I'm gonna do it again, and then going to regulate. Before regulate, going into today was a good day, and then going into regulate, and murder was the case, and it just get crazier and crazier. At the highest levels. That's the funny part. At the highest levels, it get crazier and crazier. And how people tell these stories, and I'm just a natural storyteller. You know what I mean? And God allowed me to get through a lot of shit. So I'm just here to tell the story. You know what I mean? And tell other people's story who don't have the ability to tell their story. That's it.
Yeah, and I could tell by talking with you that you a student of the game. And I want to throw this at you too, because I know it's also his anniversary date tomorrow. But we gotta throw in Biggs, Niggas Bleed. That's what prolific storytelling joint right there.
It's funny, man. Big was so nasty. You know what I mean? And warning. Who the fuck is this? Paging me at 5:46 in the morning. Yeah. Big was nasty, man, and like I said, even, tomorrow Big's death and, the anniversary of his death, but, thinking about Tupac, he's another underrated storyteller. So even when I first was doing a lot of this, you know what I'm saying? Like, I didn't trip that. I used to think like hip hop kind of saved my life, but it necessarily wasn't for me. So I spent my first 10 years in the game feeling like that. 2000, when I got signed in 2007 to 10 years, 2017, believing like, oh, I was just a D-boy that made it in hip-hop, until I realized the exact person I am, is perfect and in the mold of the greatest things about hip-hop. And it was up to me to kind of carve it out, even still at this point. Carve out some of the greatest stories ever told in hip-hop. And it's a challenging thing, because you are competing with songs like Brenda's Got a Baby or Warning or Today Was a Good Day or Regulate, where, Regulate is about a nigga getting jacked and his homie coming to save him and rescue him. It's crazy, when you think about the context of the story. So Warning about somebody finna break in your house and rob you. You feel me? It get deeper and deeper.
Yeah, suicidal thoughts.
Yeah. Nice. Suicidal thoughts, yeah, nice.
But going in with you, you developing your style. Now, how did you come up with the name Glasses Malone?
That's my hood name. My hood name, Glasses Malone. I got really bad vision, and I got a nickname the way you really get nicknamed. Somebody was making fun of me. That's how people made fun of you. And as you start gangbanging, you do your stuff, and people respect you, and you start being respect on your name. And the person that named me gave me the whole name, my big homie Pluck.
That's dope.
Simple as that. It ain't no cool story. It wasn't even a cool name. It was like an insult. But it's like anything else. I watch you turn nothing into something.
Taking lemons and turn them into lemonade.
You feel me? Like Beyonce. That's what she say.
That's right. So you going on, you developing your rap style, and you dropped your first mixtape, and it's titled The Crack Mixtape. Like, what was the reaction to that when they first heard that? Like, in terms of
man, I was just with the Crack Mixtape was really me and my brother and my boy, and we was just having fun, clowning. Man, we was just, we was making something for the neighborhood to bump. That's all. They didn't even think about it seriously. It was just something for the neighborhood to bump. When I did White Lightning, that's when I started being like, okay, maybe. That was like songs that Dre heard on the Crack Mixtape. Was, Dr. Dre told me, like, yo, you need to be doing this for a time. Like, you really can do this. And at the time, selling PCP didn't seem like it had that much of a future to it. It was good money, but, I didn't want to go to prison, and I surely hell wasn't going to tell on nobody. I sure hell wasn't going to tell on nobody, so hip-hop kind of saved my life, and listening to him. So when I did White Lightning 2, it saved my life. Like, White Lightning 1, that's when I knew it was like, all right, I'm going to do this.
And then you dropped the single off there, which was titled, I think, was 200. And that's what really started getting things going on.
Yeah. When I did 200, and nobody had approached the game like talking about Crips and Bloods together. You feel me? Nobody had really approached the game that way. They never heard that. So it was just my life at the time, and that's what I was doing.
And I think it's also because 200, it didn't sound like anything that was coming out of the West at that time, because it was also a case of where people in the West was still trying to get their footnote back.
Yeah. When Tupac died and Biggie died, they shut the door on LA for a long time. And I just happened to be around at a time that Gang was starting to really do his thing, and just had the right conversation. And I got blessed for that 200 beat. That was Rhythm D, who was EGE's producer, the guy that did Compton City G's, him and another guy. Him and Chill, and MC Chill from Compton's Most Wanted. One of their producers, they produced that song, that beat together. And what's funny is I didn't even like that beat. You know, Gang brother who managed me at the time, Big Face 100, he liked that beat. I didn't even like the beat. He was like, yo, you should write something to this. I'm like, you like this beat? He's like, yeah. And Big Face is like a genius. He'll never get the proper credit. It's sad, but he's like actually a musical genius. He understands records and sounds and approaches better than anybody I've ever dealt with, until you start talking about Dr. Dre or somebody like that. That's how good Big Face 100 is at what he does. And he convinced me to rap on this. I came up with the rap in 15 minutes because I was in the living room with everybody. It's me and my other partner who was Crip, and we in the room with all these Parus and Blood homie, and we all laughing, joking. We going to places, getting in the fights together, and we together, and it just was real. You know what I'm saying? It was sincere at the time. It was real sincere. And that became the centerpiece to exactly how I moved around in the streets anyway, to this day. Like Deontay Wilder say, to this day.
Now, was that the song right there that generated enough interest to where you end up beating Baby and becoming a member of Cash Money?
Yeah, 200, and I had a song called They Saying. Not They Saying. They Saying, not They Saying. It was about 3 songs. It was a combination of a lot of people talking about it in the streets, but yeah, that's pretty much the main song. And that caught Mack 10's attention, and Mack 10 sent it to Birdman, and Birdman and they just really thought I was really dope. I mean, they just thought I was great. I mean, that was an impressive thing to hear Wayne, to talk to Wayne and to talk to Birdman, and for them to really dig my music and to hear my twang and just thought it was special. That's how it all started.
So it was basically, with them restarting Cash Money West now, you was basically one of the OG members of the original Cash Money West with you and Mack.
That was always the plan, you know what I mean? That was his idea at the time. You know what I mean? Like, I'm going to branch out here. G, that's my goal. I'm going to branch out here. So I was kind of the first, kind of the guinea pig, and it was a lot of success, you know what I mean? But I probably wasn't together like I needed to be, but that never stopped Baby from, like, pushing the line and going hard for me and me having some levels of success, you know what I'm saying? But to watch him succeed now and the job Whack 100 is doing with Blueface and what Baby is doing is fantastic, you know what I mean? And they deserve all the success in the world, especially Stunner, because he really believes in the culture out, where I'm from. He believed in it. And he believed in the West Coast hard. He loved it. So I hope it get him further than anything in the world. Like, he deserves it because he really invested a lot into West Coast culture. You feel me? Stunner Man is Birdman is the real deal for me. You know what I'm saying? So I hope it all works out for him.
So what are, like, one of the main things that you learned from Baby when you was being up there, like, as an artist?
Oh, shit, man. It's a real list, guys. Stunner, man, one thing he taught me more than anything is don't stop working. Like, the ethic. The ethic is what really drives Cash Money Records. The ethic, the work ethic. Them niggas in the studio, and if they ain't in the studio, they on the road, on the bus doing shows. If they ain't doing that, they doing interviews. But they always working. They always working. That's where it stopped. Even if they ain't putting nothing out, it's 1,000 songs over there. I remember one time he was telling me with Wayne, he's like, man, I got 1,000 songs on Shorty. 1,000 songs. I got 1,000 songs that I ain't never heard. This is after, we talking about after the Carter 3. He got 1,000 songs on Wayne that I ain't never heard. You know what I'm saying? So, stay working. That was one thing. Part two, the value of a record. Stunner is one of the biggest ones. Stunner and Felly Phil, DJ Felly Phil from Power 106. And they start helping me really understand how a record for the party, not necessarily a club record, but a record people could party to, that was something Slim and Birdman really imposed upon me and Felly Phil. And I owe them a lot of respect for the success I've had over the last 3 years with one song specifically, which is That Good with Ty Dolla $ign, and all the success that I'm having, that I'm going to have currently, that's going to happen, is because of things that I learned at Cash Money Records. Straight up, you know what I'm saying? And when I even got further down into the depths of hip-hop, you feel me, to understand that hip-hop, what is a party? Talking to Kool Herc, talking to Eric D, to understand hip-hop is a party. And it makes you appreciate all the stuff Baby taught me earlier. It makes me appreciate Manny Fresh differently. It makes me appreciate Slim trying his hardest to find me a party record at a time when nobody on the West Coast was producing party records. This is before DJ Mustard really put the West Coast back on, you know what I'm saying, in the way it is. He came back with a party sound, but before that, I had to try my best, and they tried their hardest to figure it out. I remember them going and running the Scott stores to find these parties. They tried hard. So, man, I learned almost everything I know from over there, and then all the work I did after.
And I think people don't understand Lil Wayne's work ethic during that period. Like, that dude probably has about 4,000 or 5,000 songs that not even make the cutting floor, along with the 1,000 you mentioned. Yeah. Nah, man, let me tell you something. One thing about Cash Money Records, man, it is for real about working. It is not about nothing else. It's not about nothing else. They gonna work. They don't care what nobody got to say. When they beefing, they gonna work. When they not beefing, they gonna work. When they successful, they gonna work. Lil Wayne dropped Part 3. He was in the studio after it reportedly sold 1 million the first week. I remember. He was in the studio that night. He just sold 1 million records. We went to a party to celebrate the release from the studio. He was working that night. So it's the one thing about Cash Money success that makes them probably the greatest rap label of all time. You know what I'm saying? Like, competing with like a Def Jam. Like, hard to top the work ethic that you learn being over there. It's incredible. Like, nothing like it. And I think it's also a case of where Baby, he understands when the sounds change, you got to evolve. And with a lot of people within involved with the business, they don't know how to evolve. But Baby, he finds ways to, and like including you, because he knew the West Coast branch was going to take off again. Like, you got to have a sharp mind to pretty much know and dictate where the market's going to go. Yeah. Nah, Baby, man, is a really bright dude. Slim is really bright. Wayne is a genius. I mean, they work hard. They know where they come from. The thing about all of them is they ain't forgot where they come from, and it makes them work hard. And they got it. It's a method to the magic that's going on over there, and that's why you see the success with Blueface and not to mention what Wack 100 brings to the table for them. I mean, he's a really smart dude. That dude has success with Ray J, Game. He knows what he's doing when it comes to marketing. He's another sneaky person with his marketing. And so you combine that with the hard work ethic, that Cash Money, and the willingness to go find what you need. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's a recipe for success. You know what I mean? And you looking at him with an artist like Blueface who's still just really raw and still fresh to rapping, just not even maybe just now or not even 2 years deep. You know what I mean? As a rapper, they're going to have some success just because how they conduct the business and how much they really respect the genre, you know what I'm saying, and just they get down. man, is also understanding the power of social media because now that dictates the pace.
Yeah, you definitely got it, and that's what marketing, and I learned a lot about marketing. That's where it all came into play at.
Because they are pretty much the new tastemakers of the culture right now. And that's where we had, I think we had another guest. We was talking about the evolvement of the culture, and the youngsters is what dictate what's hot.
Yeah.
So baby tapping in that is a smart move.
Yeah.
Hold on 1 second. I ain't make sure I ain't get thrown off the air. You there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, cool. I'll make sure I ain't get thrown off the air. So here's a question I got. So did you record any release albums from Cash Money? This goes for my man Jeffrey.
Did I do what exactly?
Like, you have any unreleased Cash Money albums that haven't made the cutting floor yet? I'm taking questions.
Yeah. They definitely got one over there from me that never came out. They definitely got one. The version that came out wasn't even the correct version. There was another version that fit more of the mold that Mack thought the record should go in, but the original version was really special. It was unique. It was special. And they had that whole record.
Now, what was the name of that one? What was the name of that one? Because I'm trying to get the titles together.
Beach Cruiser.
Okay.
Beach Cruiser. Yeah.
And did that one also come with a cassette tape?
Hello?
Hold on one second. You there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. Now, did that one come with a cassette tape, too? Because I remember you having one of them on the Breakfast Club.
Nah, that was on, so that was the last project I released, which was Glass House 2. I was just looking at that, too. I got about 30 cassette tapes left, but that was my first independent project. That's when I kind of understood the science of records, and that's when I had went on, like, that was like my oldie to hip-hop, when I started understanding the science of hip-hop records. And so I put it on the cassette because I felt like it was as good as stuff that used to come out on cassettes. And it was cool putting it on cassette and playing it on a boombox. And it sounded like the records I used to listen to, when I was real little. I grew up in the era of CDs. I'm not old enough to say I had cassettes the right way, but it felt like that music back then to me listening to it.
Now, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I didn't even see people bringing cassette tapes into the fold until you introduced it back. So then you start seeing Eminem. He started doing it with his releases. Then Pusha T, he did it with his. Because the cassette tape kind of looked like it was obsolete until I seen you do it. I could be wrong.
Yeah. No, man. No, I know I influenced a lot of homies, you feel me? A lot of guys, but that's how it go, you feel me? Like, I'm always looking at the history, to try to bring back something that people don't remember. Like, something else I don't get no credit for was I was the first person that did an EP and brought back that sound. On my new music, I might be the first person that brings back Maxx singles. People don't know what a Maxx single was, but when Tupac released Hit 'Em Up, it was on the Maxx single. That was the only way you could get it. So, it's all about knowing your history and being willing to capture that magic, that the essence of original, the original form of hip-hop and records and what made it sweet, what made it hard. So that's all I'm doing.
Oh, man, the Maxx single, man, you took it back with that, bro, because I think Who Shot You was a Maxx single as well.
Exactly. You feel me? So I stay in the deck. I stay in the deck. I stay talking to Warren G and Daz when they talk to me. I listen and I talk to them all the time. You know what I'm saying? I stay on them. Like, I stayed trying to get game. I stayed reading. I stayed doing my homework. I stayed at the record stores, whatever one's left. I stayed Wikipedia, and I always donate to. Shout out to Wikipedia. I donate to them 7 times a year just because I could get all kind of information that never existed. You feel me? Or that I can't find nowhere else. And I'm able to go back and find my place in history at that time and really just bring back culture, like the cassette tapes. I had to find somebody at a house, because nobody was playing cassettes. I didn't see nobody with one for sure. And next thing I know, I start seeing everybody with them. But, that's the point of it, the cassette waves. And sometimes you get the credit and sometimes you don't. But in the back of your mind, you set that wave. And the goal is to constantly, set waves, bring back waves and create new waves and really just, clown.
And not to mention, I believe that you was also one of the guys that really featured a fresh face who's doing business now. He's killing the game now. Go by the name of Nipsey Hussle. Like he was one of the first. He was one of the first guys to actually feature him.
Yep, and I had Kendrick Lamar first, J-Rock first, Nip first, Ty Dolla $ign first, a couple people.
And just seeing like how he's evolved since then has just been inspirational. And you see him doing big things, and it's a trip how these guys had to go through you to pretty much not only get that stamp but get that acknowledgement, and they go and do bigger things. So that shows the test of time that you have.
Yeah, hands down. Hands down.
Right, what I said.
And that was exactly why we wanted to feature you on, because we at Off the Cuff Radio, we want to feature people that making impacts but don't really have their impact known to the public eye to the point. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean, man, there's so many people, and a lot of people, man, like a lot of different people. But that's the goal, that's what you're supposed to do as when you're part of the culture, is you're supposed to keep spreading it and keep, right now I've been really working with my partners, the Young Giants, a lot. They some guys to me that LA needs to hear. Ty Dolla $ign, man, like when I was working with him, it was like, I knew he was dope right off the rip when I heard him. You know what I mean? The same thing with Kendrick, same thing with Rock, same thing with Nip. It was a level of authenticity. So I try to frequent circles of people that's authentic, that when you meet them and then you hear their records, everything is as advertised. And like, it's all of them people are exactly what you hear. You know what I mean? Exactly what you hear. It ain't somebody else off the record. So it's my kind of guys, very authentic guys.
And so, you also mentioned that Mack 10, he brought you on. And I believe, I'm trying to get my train of thought together, I believe that he rebranded Who Bangin' Records and he signed you on there. Now, what is some game that you learned from Mack when you was going further in this?
Look. Mack helped me understand the look. The look. You know what I'm saying? And people ain't seen the look because I ain't put on the show yet, but if this is my final chapter of hip-hop, you know what I'm saying, maybe, what I'm about to write on this final chapter of this book, you know what I'm saying, the look is what I learned from Mack 10. Everything everybody is about to see is Mack 10. The look is Mack 10. Like Bird taught me a lot about records and something about the look, but Mack helped me really understand the look when it comes down to marketing, when it comes down to hip-hop, the look of it all, and making it look the way it needs to look. That's Mack 10. Mack 10 is the look.
And I'm pretty sure he got that game from Q, because, Q pretty much, he had to lace a lot when it comes to, getting your own independency, because everybody saw what he went through when he left NWA. And build his own independent enterprise. So Mack doing that with Who Bangin', it was the same deal.
No, hands down. But I think that part of something is Ice Cube is a very unique talent when it comes to that. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. That game is different that Cube had. You know, Mack had a very independent game, but that's baby in it too. You know what I mean? But Mack Chin understands really. Like, he don't get enough credit for the things that he brought into the game, but Mack Chin is the look. Mack understands how this shit needs to look. He's like, when y'all pull up, this is how it needs to look. And he got that down, and that's something that I learned from him. Heavy. How it needs to look.
And then you take that transition because everything about basically in order to thrive in today's market, you got to go through transitions. Just like we see a lot of rappers, they take it on not only the marketing aspect, but they take it on executive roles and the labels. And I seen that you also taking the transition in the podcast. And like, what made you jump into that?
It was a natural progression for a storyteller. I mean, you're going to see me transition into a lot of things that tell stories. Films, TV shows, series, comics, anything that's involved with storytelling. Understanding that finally now has helped me in a place to where it's like, okay, I know exactly what I need to do. Like, I know how to utilize all of this stuff and make it work.
Now, hold on. I got my man on, my co-host of the night. I got T-Maxx on. He want to shoot some questions to you. T-Maxx, you on, brother?
G motherfucking Malone, True Blue from the Watts, man. What it do? The Beach Cruise. How you do, man?
I'm cooling, man. How you doing, brother?
Chilling, man. Good to hear from you, man. Great to have you on the show. Definitely, man. So, you know, your career has been long and storied in terms of, you know, what you've gone through in terms of being one of the West, you know, young guns, you know, coming out through the years. And a lot of people don't know in terms of some of the stuff you've done. You work with quite a few people, especially a couple of, you know, Grammy winners, you know, some guys by the name of, you know, Kendrick Lamar and J-Rock. You know, how does it feel? Yeah, man. How's it, in terms of your history going back, and your discography goes back so much further, just about how did you manage to make those connections throughout the years, you know, in terms of starting out in the game and just making those progressions, you know, making those collaborations happen?
Being dope, man. First off, thank you for having me. Being dope, man, all I focus on is being dope.
Right.
All I focus on is being dope. That's all I focus on, and pulling out a stunt, pulling out something dope that, like he said, like with the cassette tape, that make people, you know, if you ain't making a number one hit song or people see you do something that they ain't did, it's like you still kind of become a level of a trendsetter. Everybody respects the trendsetter. So that's always worked for me. And then just being authentic dude. So everybody has always shown me love. Like, it's a blessing. Like, to this day. You know what I mean? You're right. Like, to watch my boy Dot, Kendrick, and J-Rock win Grammys, you know what I'm saying? And Wayne. And I work with different Grammy award-winning people a lot of times. It puts pressure. It's like, oh, you got to get a Grammy. You know what I mean? That's what it do more than anything. It's like, oh, your boys got Grammys. That means you're in Grammy company. You can't come. I can't go to the Grammy party and don't got nothing to drink out of.
Definitely. Okay, and I got to shameless plug myself for a minute. You remember about a year and a half, a couple of years ago, a couple of heads, you know, somebody shot you some of those old articles from the magazines up in your DM from the IG?
I do remember that.
You're talking to the guy that did it.
I appreciate that, man. Man. Yeah.
I've been a fan of yours for a long, long time, man. Definitely.
I mean a lot.
Now
I mean a lot.
Definitely, man. And there's also there's one more collaboration because you did a collaboration with one of my all-time favorite rappers, you know, Red Cafe on the Buck off the 2007 co-op release. Now, how did that happen? You know the one,
so
with
Mack
Red and the Lock.
Red Cafe they really tight. And Red is one of the first people from New York to truly embrace me when I actually went to New York.
And that's when you shot the Thuggin' video, right?
Yeah. No, not Thuggin'. That's when I shot Crip Gang. I shot Crip Gang and actually a neighborhood that Red Cafe kind of grew up in.
That's right. I'm thinking of Thuggin'. That's the joint you did with Kendrick. My bad. I got them crossed up. Yeah. But I know you shot. I know about the vid you shot in New York. Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah. That was East Side, and that was like I said, that's where Red Cafe grew up at. Red Cafe was one of the first people that showed me love in New York. You feel me? But my boy Wink, you know what I mean? That's my guy from New York. You know what I'm saying? So me and Red did about 4 records all together. You know what I'm saying? One of them was Big Baller. You know what I'm saying? One of them was the record on his project. I had a record on mine with me, Red, and I think it was either Cameron. No, it was Lil Wayne. Man, we kind of been good since. We ain't talked as much lately, but he was real good. So Red is a solid dude, and he definitely understands the look, and that's why him and Mack were so, they really were good together. But again, like I said, everybody got to find their own space and create their own shadow in the room.
Now, when you shot the East Side video in New York, because I saw that years ago and I was bugged out because, it's there's always been a lot of, contention from, the coast in reference to, other sets being recognized, from all over, and just how did you get the idea to just go there and just do it, in terms of really showing that bi-coastal unity, showing, that, it's unity no matter, where you from.
You know what, really, like, that same reason. I felt like a lot of people at home didn't really know how serious Crippin' was going on out there. And
right.
I felt like I knew the right person with my boy Wink. Shout out to Wink from UGs, you feel me? But he was the right person to bring it to life with and bring light to how serious Crippin' was out there. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And shit, I just went by myself, you know what I mean, and was like, fuck it. And I told him and hit a couple homies. And next thing you know, we got, 100 motherfuckers on the block, Crips, banging, and they with it. They like, let's do it.
Right.
We shoot the video, and it's crazy because if you look in the video, you see the police was there at the end.
Mm-hmm.
Well, shout out to Dan the Man, because Dan the Man made that look special. Dan the Man is, like, really underrated as a video director, but the police came before we started shooting and tried to shut the video down. When I tell you how Wink and other Crip niggas out there stood up to the police and made them leave that block, and we shot that video, they made them leave that block. So what's at the end of East Side is not really what happened. They was there before we started. And the Crips, the UG Crips and A-Trade Crips at the time that was in the video, New York, they made the police, all 40 police, leave. It was like the gangster shit I've ever seen in my life. And it's funny because it was in New York. There was some Crip niggas in New York that made the police leave.
Hey, it's gangster all over, man. And there's another question because this is, like, really big, This is big for us, but it's big for me especially because, like I said, I've been a fan of yours for a minute. Now, a lot of people don't. I don't know if you, King, did y'all? I don't want to rehash anything y'all already talked about. Did y'all already talk about his prior deal with Sony? In terms of what happened with the first deal, or
it just collapsed. The company Sony Urban collapsed. So it wasn't when I walked in, they was already collapsing, but somehow they were still doing business. So it wasn't really bad or good. The whole company dissolved, and I just didn't want to deal with none of that. You feel me? And at the time, Baby was on my line, so this is where it kind of started at. When the company dissolved, Sony Urban dissolved, right under my feet.
Right, because that situation, from what I had understood, you had already recorded an album, had already secured your bonus for your upfront money for it, but it was either. But it was also, too, when the whole situation had fell apart, it was a situation where you would either keep the money and they keep the album, or you give the money back and you get your album back. And if please correct me on anything if I get it, misconstrued. So basically, you would decide to go ahead and give the money back they had given you, and then keep what would become the Beach Cruiser album. Is that correct?
Yeah, but what happened was, so I didn't actually have to give any money back. But a lot of the music I worked on, I didn't really get a chance to keep. And it wasn't like I couldn't have, but it felt like it was fair. KP, Juan Prancer, I think he's from ATL, but he did me a solid and really got me a chance to start my career. He didn't have to, you know what I mean? And he really looked out, so shout out to KP for that. But I was able to walk away with Certified and Fuck With Me, the song with Manny Fresh. And I walked into Cash Money with those songs.
Word. Now, what was that? Now, the situation with Birdman when he said he reached out to you, how did that situation come about?
Mack 10, man. I explained it earlier. It was all about Mack 10.
Okay.
Mack 10 really put that whole play together and put him on my music. And he just knew, he said the first time he heard it, he knew he wanted to sign me. And then he did his homework and asked some people around the streets. He knew some people from watch me. It was solid. Jeff was good. And he said sites. And there wasn't even nothing to talk about at that point. It was like Birdman wanted to interact with me. You know what I mean? He wanted to make sure I was straight. And I could tell he was just sincere. Like, it's a feeling you get about certain people and you know they're sincere. And I knew he was sincere at that point.
That's what's up. That's what's up, man. So, I mean, definitely the West Coast veteran yourself, man. And you definitely, repping Watts. You have a lot of distinguished, rappers in addition to yourself. Is the aforementioned, J-Rock coming out of there, of course, Cam, Watts Gangsters. Y'all really, how does it feel to be part of, not only of that lineage, but also carving your own spot in terms of becoming a legend as well as the aforementioned greats coming out of there?
Burden with a real responsibility to make sure that the town continuously get to the next step and it's not as hard for the next artist to get signed. Trying to make sure that we really break watching in a way that it's never been truly broken, to continue with Cam and the Whispers and Tyrese and J-Rock and different homies constantly trying to make sure people know about this place because they still don't know. They know about Compton, but they don't really know about watching. It's a burden, It's a responsibility to constantly keep pushing. You can't stop pushing. And to keep trying different things, figure out what it takes to break the city so people from there can constantly have an opportunity just because they're from there, like somebody from Compton, somebody from, Brooklyn.
Definitely. Now, coming up for you as a budding MC, in terms of really finding your niche, how long did it really take you to really, because for a lot of rappers, and me and King, our co-hosts as well, Ill the Sandman, and, Lady Chinchilla, we all talk about this on and off the air about, the progression of an artist. And a lot of artists, unfortunately, think that this is something that happens overnight in terms of just being able to, get on, but they don't understand the work that it takes and the polish, necessary to really perfect your craft lyrically, in terms of delivery, cadence, rhymes, beats, everything. Coming into the game, was that something you always aspired to be a rapper, or was that something that kind of, as you caught interest in it, you decided, maybe I could do this for a living?
It definitely found me. It found me in the house selling songs. So it found me, like hip-hop found me. Man. I was already living the life that people rap about. Then I started rapping and was able to talk about exactly what I had just went through. I didn't really, like I said, I just was telling the co-host that I didn't really realize it was for me until 2017. It took me a long time to realize it was for me. Because I always felt like I was somebody who got over or always accepted me because I was authentic and I was real and I could deliver. I had enough wit to deliver versus 2017 coming forward. I was like, I'm supposed to really be doing it.
Right, that's that epiphany right there. Where you just
it's 10 years in the game and getting checks and cashing checks and having success, and then you're like, and it's funny because I really understood at that point that it's for me, and you're like, you're supposed to be doing it. Now do it. Now that you know you're supposed to be doing it, now do it.
Definitely, man. And that's something
I'm
that
back, y'all. What did I miss on?
Oh, no, we were just talking about, just about, his beginnings, in terms of, and when it really clicked for him that, that he could do it, and just from early influences, but Malone was saying, he was already, in the streets, handling business, and he just put, his experience on paper, and then put it on the microphone, and, it was on after that, but just about knowing that he knew it was his destiny to be an MC,
That's what it is.
And and go ahead, Ken. Go ahead.
Yeah. So, the way you see hip hop going in 2019, do you see it evolving, or you see it going like a step backwards?
It's evolving. Hip hop is ever evolving. The thing that I think most people forget, certain artists that's kind of as they get older, they start feeling like, oh, hip hop got dead because their version of hip hop is not that version of hip hop today. But what it is a version of hip hop, like let's say a Nas or Biggie. Their version of hip hop is pop now. Like you play a Biggie song today, and they know that it's the whitest white person house in America. You feel me? Hip hop is ever evolving. It's consistently evolving. You feel me? And what's underground and what's not going with the culture, you feel me, is totally different than it was. Because at the time when I was coming up, you feel me, you talking about like 08, when it was fresh and new, we wearing hoodies. That was the underground thing to do. Now they sell hoodies at H&M or at Gucci. So wearing a hoodie ain't really hip hop no more. It's pop. So the way the kids is dressing, the way people dressing today, the dyeing their hair, that's the underground culture. That's what's standing out. That's what hip hop is all about. The underground, the streets. You know what I mean? What's happening? You know what I mean? Not necessarily what did happen. Like I said, if you make a beat like Juicy today, that's a pop record. When Juicy first came out, it was noisy and it was disruptive. The conversation wasn't necessarily the language, you know what I mean? It was things that made it outlawed. Now, that whole idea, concept, the language itself, the music, the way they did it, is popular music. So I think that's where the breakdown happens at. Older people judge hip-hop, and they be like, that ain't hip-hop. No, that ain't. What you was listening to was hip-hop when you was listening to it, but now what you listening to is pop records. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Listening to Juicy, listening to Today. What Today was a good there is a pop song right now. You can play that at a Kiss FM concert and everybody know it word for word. A country singer or a pop singer probably sang a version of it. So that's, pop. So I think hip-hop is always evolving. It's always going to keep evolving. What's underground, what's mainstream today, what's underground today is going to be mainstream tomorrow. And then what's going to be the next thing that's underground? That's going to be hip-hop.
Hey, you know what, bro, is I also would catch a lot of your podcasts whenever I can. Very entertaining, very enlightening, first and foremost. I got to just put that out there.
Thank you.
And
definitely,
I noticed one of the topics that you did, I remember people just going crazy over, was where you was breaking down why you felt that Lil Wayne was a better MC than Nas. And people was just going crazy. They even tagged me over there. I'm like, what am I supposed to say?
And I understand how some people could. Go ahead, I'm listening.
Go ahead.
No, I was go ahead. You said, do I get any?
I'm like, I understand, of us being podcasters and creator content that we sometimes go through situations where we're vocal on certain things, and a lot of people catch feelings about it. Like, how are you able to deal with that without really compromising with your beliefs?
Shit, I just don't give a fuck. mean, I care, literally, you feel me? Like, literally, yes, I care that people don't agree with me. I care that people could say something harmful to me and be disrespectful. Not to me, because in my face at that point, physically, I can assault them and get even. But, yeah, on the internet, it hurts you, but fuck it, so what? I don't give a fuck, because I probably pretty much thought it out. You know what I mean? I thought out what I'm saying. When I said Lil Wayne was better than Nas, I meant it. I mean, I done enough homework. I'm a part of the culture enough to where Nas could be like, gee, if Nas came to me and be like, gee, how can you say this? And then I could lay out some facts for Nas, and I would make Nas be thinking like, well, maybe Lil Wayne might be a little better than me. Because I've done that kind of homework. You know what I'm saying? And if I'm honest, I'm definitely, more of a Nas fan, per se, than a Lil Wayne fan. And even though I have more personal relationships with Lil Wayne, you know what I mean? I'm more of a Nas fan, but if I'm judging straight off the cuff of what hip-hop is and impact and culture and sales and style and influence and even lyricism to a degree, I mean, like, it's like Lil Wayne just tipped all the scales from me. You feel me? He just do. And to anybody else, I mean, it's obvious. Lil Wayne has been the guy in hip-hop. Nas has never been the number one guy in hip-hop. Lil Wayne has been the number one guy in hip-hop.
And what's the name of your podcast again?
So I kind of scrapped it, man, because at that time it was like too much responsibility. I started doing a boxing podcast called Your Agent, but I pretty much just stick it right now. What's funny is we always laughing at some of those podcasts have 100,000 downloads because people just thought I was crazy, but I thought about it, man. It made a lot of sense. And when you listen to, like I said, my conversation about it is compelling.
And you know what, though, bro? It is also a case of where, because I listened to the podcast, and people were just, in outrage about that, but it seemed like when the way you was laying down why you felt that way, it would actually put a compelling argument. It wasn't on some troll tip like a lot of people do. You know what I mean?
And that's the problem. You know what I'm saying? Like, when you say something and people can't see the end of a tunnel, they think it's a maze. They're like, that's a troll. You're trolling us. It's like, nah, let me just get you to the end of the tunnel. But, you got to start figuring out who trolling and who really challenging thought. You know what I'm saying? Some people are trolling. Me, I'm challenging thought. I'm serious. If I said it, I mean it. Lil Wayne is the greatest MC ever out of the South. He's not my favorite MC out of the South, but he's the greatest MC out of the South. My favorite MC out of the South is Scarface. He is a rap god, but Lil Wayne is the greatest MC out of the South. Lil Wayne is not even my favorite MC out of Cash Money, but he's the greatest MC out of the South ever. And the greatest MC out of Cash Money. Whether he's my favorite or not is not important.
Random question though. Who was your favorite MC? Who was your favorite MC out of Cash Money?
Juvenile, the Big Time. Juvenile, Big Time, BG, Lil Wayne, then Turk.
And Juvie also got that comeback record out now with Birdman. That's getting some knock.
Okay. Yeah, Juvenile's insane, man. I don't even want to give you 400 Degrees is the greatest album out of the South.
Now you may have an interesting case with that, bro, because man, I have never heard nothing like 400 Degrees.
Listen, greatness is measurable. That's the thing people don't understand. If I say my favorite, that's my choice. If I say the best, the best is kind of, the best is another word where it's kind of subjective. The greatest is measurable stats. You know what I'm saying? And 400 Degrees is the greatest album out of the South, and Lil Wayne is the greatest MC out of the South. You can measure the measurement of it all. When you measure Lil Wayne, when you measure Nas, you know what I mean? You're going to see Lil Wayne is going to tip the scales a little bit more.
And going back to when we was talking about 400 Degrees, man, just like I was saying, I ain't never heard an album that sounded like that before. Plus, he also had some songs that was hitting, like, Ghetto Children, Follow Me Now.
You talking about this? Somebody sold
UPG.
5 million records when nobody in South hip hop had ever done that. You know what I mean? The only album that's to this day that's even got close to doing that was a double album, which was Outkast. You talking about it's people right now stealing rap flows from that actual project right now. You know, Tekashi 6ix9ine built a whole career off those flows from that album. And you talking about one of the greatest songs of hip hop history on that album. You talking about the birth and the success, the initial birth and the initial retail success of probably the most legendary label ever out of the South. No, the most legendary label out of the South. That album, you know what I'm saying? Stats is measurable. The first time you really heard Lil Wayne on the national level on that album, you feel me? Like, it's measurable stats. It ain't like greatness is measurable. You can measure greatness. Like I said, you can't measure favorite, you can't measure best, but you can measure great. And 500 Degrees just kills everything. You know what I mean? On the scale, it's not even close. And once again, it's not even my favorite. Scarface, everything is favorite of mine. Just Scarface. I even like Rick Ross more, but you can't. Nothing is heavier than 400 Degrees. Nothing.
See, I like how you break down the sport of rap, like, you know, the rap statistics like it's sports. You know what I'm saying? That's when we could probably, we probably have to have that podcast come back soon.
Definitely.
Sooner than we think.
Definitely. Now, Glasses, you know, you speak with such reverence, such respect, you know, such, you know, gratitude for Cash Money, you know, for the opportunity you had with them. With all the situations that have become public in terms of the situations that have gone on that were not of the best variety, did you ever see or feel at the time under those circumstances that this was ever going to happen in terms of, you know, all the turmoil that ended up going on with Cash Money at the time?
Families fight, man.
Subsequently,
Families fight, man. Normal. They family. Families fight. You know what I'm saying? They've been together forever. They've been together for over 20 years. You know, you're talking about somebody been together for 30 years. They're going to fight. That's how it goes. That's family.
Right.
Families fight. But, I mean, I've heard all the rumors. You know, I heard all the people not getting paid and all of that, you know. But people will figure it out. You know what I'm saying? They'll work it out.
Now, definitely, on a lighter note, in terms of the Young California movement, you know, with, you know, going from the Bay down to L.A., of course, it all be Peasy, Cam and China, Mozzie, G. Perico, you know, and finally, you know, this guy named Nipsey Hussle from Crenshaw finally got his due for being one of the illest for a long time. How does that feel to see, you know, California, you know, across the board just making that resurgence in such a most powerful way to really, you know, really put their foot back in the game, letting them know, yo, like the West is still here, you know, we still around and we still putting it down?
We just got a lot more work to do, man. You got to catch the 90s. Got to catch the 90s, you know. That's how I look at it, and that's what I tell Nipsey. That's what I tell Kendrick. That's what I tell to Genesis. That's what I tell Gang. Our job is to make our era catch the 90s. If the 90s is the greatest era in West Coast hip-hop, then your eyes got to be set on the 90s. Let's pass that. Let's make albums that sell more than those albums. You know what I mean? And that's the challenge. So for me personally, I don't know about, I'm always happy to see my homies grow and progress and people that I watch come in the game and people that came in the game with me progress. But my mind is always on, you know, a level of being better, being greater. You feel me? So I'm always looking at the 90s. Like I always tell Kendrick, check your goal higher. Let's look at the 90s. Like, let's look at the best shit in the 90s and let's try to beat the best shit in the 90s. Let's make a record better than Regulate, if that's possible. Let's make records better than Ain't Number the G Thing, California Love. Can we make records better than that? Can we top the Boys in the Hood? Can our era of West Coast hip hop produce a movie better than Friday or Boys in the Hood, you know what I'm saying, or Minister Society, our whole culture, our era. And if we're not looking to be that great, then we playing ourselves shortly. You know what I'm saying? That's what it's all about. Greatness.
And when you talk about the '90s, man, I mean, of that era of hip hop, King will tell you, I'm a diehard West Coast fan. You know, born and raised, coming up on the South Side of VA. But I mean, you know, you mentioned, but I mean, you look at some of the other rappers, you know, like, you know, rest in peace, you know, Compton's Righteous, you know, who did in Winter. No, I'm thinking of Sinister. My bad, Sinister. But Compton's Righteous, when he did his joint in Winter AIDS Attacks. Of course, you know, I mean, you had Above the Law, Black Superman, you know, off of the Uncle Sam's Curse album. I mean, y'all have some burners, you know, during that '90s time in terms of what was coming out. You know, of course, BG Knockout and Dresta, Real Brothers. That era that y'all had, even on the underground, you know, that underground was breaking through in terms of really, really, really finding that audience. You know, Compton's Most Wanted. You know, I mean, the list goes on and on of that '90s classics that are just back to back to back, you know, that a lot of people outside the West Coast may have not heard, you know, but nonetheless, they were just much of as an indelible impact as, you know, the aforementioned classes, of course, were Regulate, California Love, and all of that. You know, you all, you know, South Central, you know, LA have always repped heavy, not only repped it heavy, but added something to the culture that myself and many others, we cannot thank you enough for your contributions. And hip-hop just ain't the same without what y'all have put down in the past and the present day today.
And I'm grateful to even, you know, hear that. And I grew up the same way like you. Even though I grew up in it, I grew up the same way like you, and that's my goal as a content provider, you know what I'm saying, of today's era, is to constantly try to make sure we give people something that makes them feel like how we felt when we first saw Boys in the Hood, or when we first heard, you know, G-Funk era, or, you know, or sing or heard, you know, straight up Menace on Minister Society. Like that's what any version of hip hop should be doing, is trying to push the culture forward. And if you ain't coming into the league, like I laugh when people tell me they're coming into the league to be better than somebody who's not. Like if you're a point guard and you're not coming into the league like, I'm going to be better than Magic Johnson, or I want to have greatness like Magic Johnson. If you're a shooting guard, like I'm like, if you're not thinking about having the greatness of Michael Jordan, or as a small forward Larry Bird, or as a power forward Tim Duncan, or as a center Bill Russell, what are you doing? I always tell people, like, I never came in this shit for money. People come in this for money, and it's like, you can sell dope and get some money, and it's all kind of ways to get some money, but if you ain't looking to knock the world off its axis, I mean, what are you doing? That's what we should be trying to do, and that's what, you know, if anything you're going to hear is something OT Genesis or Kendrick Lamar or Nipsey Hussle, they're going to always tell you that that's how I talk. That's what I'm about. I'm about fucking the game up. I'm about fucking the world up. That's what I'm about. That's what it got to be about, you know what I mean? Because that's what they was about. They was about fucking the world up.
Definitely. And that level of ambition for, you know, advancement and achievement, I think, is always the benchmark that somebody should always be raising a bar for. Now, you know where I'm going with this question. I got to ask it, because there's one thing to have confidence, and then there's another thing when you start disrespecting legends. And I'm still trying to figure out what Offset was trying to go for with this little remark he made about all the old school rappers need to kiss the Migos' feet. And I'm just like, okay, you do realize that these guys did pave the way for y'all to come in, right? You know.
I don't know. Sometimes I think them dudes be misunderstood. I don't know what that meant, because I seen it and I was like, I don't know. I mean, I guess you feel like they're doing their job and taking hip hop, the culture, further mainstream. But I don't think he understands that that's what all great people like. No matter what we say, the Migos are the greatest group today. You know what I mean, of today's era. So you're doing what Outkast did before you. You know what I mean? You're doing what, you know what I mean, Bone did before, you know, initially. You know what I mean? You're talking about what NWA had to do before anybody in hip-hop had to do it. So I respect that, you know, they are taking it more mainstream than ever before. Them dudes is on Apple commercials. They doing a lot as a gangster rap group. I mean, so, but like once again, I'm everybody don't always have the right words, and I'm hoping he just didn't have the right words, and he was trying to say something else. If it didn't make sense to me, but again, like I say, you know, I'm not looking for that kind of clarity from everybody else.
That's what it is.
I think it's a deal where these guys are just. I think it's a deal where people are just feel that they can say the most outlandish things and automatically they could just get clicked.
Yeah, they might be trolling. They might be trolling. Yeah, you got to know when somebody's trolling and when somebody really. I'm gonna tell y'all something like this, man. If I make a song or if I hear a song title, if y'all hear something from me and it sounds like trolling, go deeper because I ain't trolling. I don't waste my time. I mean what I said, and I got a very logical explanation of why I said it. And when you hear it, most likely, whether you agree or not, you're going to respect the stand.
Right.
I don't know what he meant by that. I have no idea what he meant by that. I don't know. I think he just...
Well, that's also something...
I don't know.
Well, I think that's also something, too. And I think, because definitely we're not on this show, we're not out to bash anybody. You know, we take ourselves seriously as journalists to just ask the investigative questions and get the opinions of our guests as well as, you know, the public, you know, in terms of, you know, for our callers. I think a lot of times, though, there's a situation where I think a lot of people have felt with that statement, though, that is also a situation because the Migos have been undeniably successful, no two ways about it. I think there have been questions about their egos in reference to how they perceive themselves as, you know, basically just setting their standards way above everybody else in terms of those who have already had indelible classics. You mentioned Outkast, and Outkast are legends, you know, in any era. But like anything, for them starting out.
It's funny to me, and I'm glad you said that, because I remember him saying, like, we're the biggest group of all time. And I'm like, nigga, y'all not even the biggest group out of Atlanta.
Right.
You're not even the most successful group out of Atlanta. But that is to say you're not beyond successful and you the shit, but like size yourself up. It's like certain people say shit. It's like for I forgot. I think the young boy from I remember laughing at telling Stunner like when the young boy said he was the greatest R&B singer. I'm the best R&B singer.
Jacquees.
I think he's from Chicago. He's from Chicago, right?
Right.
Or Atlanta. Like nigga, I think he's from Atlanta. I mean, you're not even the best R&B singer, nigga, out of Atlanta. Like this is niggas that you gotta be the best singer in the state. Nigga, you gotta be the best singer in Georgia. You feel me? Like it's like I don't know. Like I said, I can see like it's like a nigga in Cleveland, like a group is, you know what I'm saying? It's like it's not even the biggest group out of Atlanta, nigga. Chill, nigga. Outkast is from Atlanta, you know. But again, like I said, you know, people feel like they need to. People feel like they need to. I notice a lot of people feel like they need to make what's not true. They need to say what's not true to make it true, and it's like, no, all you got to do is measure their stats and then make some stats to match their stats. And then that's what you stand on.
You know, and that's something I think with any artist.
Trolling. That's the dangerous part about trolling now is that people are so behind it is to where they try their hardest like to convince you that the sky is green when you know it's not green, but they're gonna swear all blue to the face that it's green.
I don't know. Well, fellas, my phone for the guy ain't got no charger.
Yeah, we about to wrap this thing up anyway, because you know it's 2 hours head time. We can't go that overtime, but Man, it was a pleasure you chopping it up with us, brother.
Let's get it again, man. We'll shut it up, man. Once I release the content, man, we'll have a conversation, good content. Fellas, thank y'all for having me. Before I die, I'm gonna make sure I get out of here, man. I look forward to speaking with y'all again, man. Glasses Malone, man. Anybody listen, get at me, man. I'm all social, Googleable.
No doubt,
Appreciate
man. I'm gonna keep
you,
in touch
man.
with you, bro. Yes, indeed, y'all. That's another one for the books right there. The original Cash Money West member, Glasses Malone, was just chopping it up with us.
Yes. But you know, King, what he said, man, that really, really was like a great answer, you know, in terms of it, man. You know, because this, because there's a lot of hyperbole that a lot of artists put on themselves in terms of how they want to, you know, boost themselves for being the greatest. And the reality is, like he said, you got to show your stats in order to be in that conversation.
Yeah, because a lot of people, they're just basically saying stuff to get attention. That's all that it is. Because I looked at the background of it. He has an album out, so he's going to say outlandish things to get that attention. You got to do what you got to do when they make headways nowadays.
That's true.
Especially since social media is like so news clouded. You got to find ways to make your name stand out.
That's true. So, I mean, hey, man, we'll see. We'll see what it does. We'll see what that album does. You know, hey, he's got the buzz. You know, Offset got that buzz, so we're going to see how it goes for him.
You know what he's probably going to do?
Huh?
I'm going to make a vast prediction. Before we go off the air, I'm going to make a vast prediction.
Mm-hmm.
If this album doesn't do what it's supposed to,
right,
I'm going to think they're going to purposely leak a sex tape with him and Cardi.
Oh, Lord. We better hope it's at least with Cardi. Because if it ain't, it's going to cause some problems.
Watch what I say. It's going to get that. It's getting bad out here for guys that's trying to make sales now. So now you got to do publicity stunts like crazy. You got to do crazy publicity stunts to get your name heard out there. Because every day you could be lost in the shadows. You got to stay current every day now. Because news travels.
Well, like I said, it just better be with Cardi or something like that.
If y'all wake up in the morning and
Cardi.
you see that timeline full of Cardi, like, what Cardi do? What Offset do? Tune back to this show that we just did with Glasses Malone, and you will see exactly what we talking about.
Hey, man. Anything's possible in the game, right? Look, I'm still bugging years ago when they tried to say, you know, that Nicki Minaj sex tape was out there, which it wasn't. It just happened to be a chick that looked like her in that, but it was not Nicki. Look, somebody was trying to run a scam for real. They were trying to sell that for like 125 racks. So I was like, what?
Niggas is hungry for clout these days.
Yeah, man. You know how it goes. But
yeah,
definitely, man.
I'm in the same boat as Glasses. Let me get up out of here before my phone even die, man. But yeah, nevertheless, big shout out to Glasses Malone.
West. What's up?
For making this connection happen. Big shout out to Uncle Cocaine. Be on the lookout for the Finger Roll album dropping on March 30th.
Hey.
Get that. The website is out. Follow it on Instagram. And we'll see you next week. And be on the lookout for that MC Shan interview. I'm going to have it up this weekend.
Yeah. And we out.
The iPhone XR is here at T-Mobile, and there's a whole lot to love, like taking those perfect New Year, New You portrait mode selfies you're going to share.
Nice.
It's the best way to stay connected to everyone you'll heart most in 2019. So get ready to fall in love with iPhone XR on T-Mobile, the most loved in wireless. Call 1-800-T-Mobile to learn more or visit a store today.